Everyone, welcome into a Monday edition of the Game Changers podcast. That's what you do whenever your guest is named an All-American. A couple days before you're going to talk to him, you kind of adjust around that. Jill Gillen, that's who's going to be on the show here in just a little bit. We'll play a recording of a conversation I had with her this weekend. But yeah, she was named an All-American this week after just the tremendous season they had. Jill Gillen was named second team All-American. Taylor Head made third team. And Hannah Hogue was honorable mention. I'm your host, Ethan Westerman. Want to thank you for joining in, even on this unusual day. Normally we're doing these on Fridays. But like I said, just an unbelievable year for the volleyball team. They lost to Nebraska in 4 sets to end their season, a Nebraska team that made it to the championship match. So nothing to hang their heads about. Just an unbelievable year, what all they were able to accomplish. They went the furthest that they've ever gone in the NCAA tournament. They had the best record they've ever had. Like I said, they had 3 All-Americans. So just an unbelievable year for them. I'm excited for y'all to listen to the conversation I had with Jill here in a little bit, just kind of reflecting on the season they had and what it meant to her, just what all they were able to accomplish. Britton Wilson, on the women's track and field team, she was a finalist for the Bowerman Award this week. She actually went there with Jaden Hibbert of the men's team, who took home the award on their side. Really cool for him. But man, Britton just even being a finalist for that award is so impressive. She set the American record with a 49.48 400-meter time at the NCAA Indoor Championships last year. So just anytime you hold any sort of American record, I mean, that's really, really impressive. So it was much deserved that she got to be among that group that made it there for for a finalist for the award. That it's kind of like the Heisman equivalent. They call it the track Heisman. Goes to just the best. There's one for the best men's and females track and field athlete in the nation. So for Britton getting to go and do that, much deserved. Gymnastics, they had their gym back preview yesterday as their season quickly approaches. Their first meet is January 12th at home in Barnhill Arena against Georgia. Women's basketball, they got back on course. That's how Mike Neighbors described it, beating Samford 68-54 in North Little Rock this past week. It came on the heels of them just losing a shocker at home to UAPB last Sunday. So it was good for them to get back on course, like he said. It wasn't a pretty win, but it was a win nonetheless. Good games from their vets in that game. Michaela Daniels and Samara Spencer combined for 34 points in that one, which was kind of needed. I mean, if you've ever been to those games in Simmons Bank Arena down there, I mean, it's a home game, but it really is. It's an adjustment for the players. It doesn't look anything like a home game. You have the home crowd support, like you get all the fans, but I mean, just the setup, and you're staying in a hotel. It doesn't really feel like a home game, but it was good for them to have their vets that had been in that game before. They kind of stepped up and carried a lot of the load. So they improved to 9-3 ahead of the West Palm Beach Classic that they're going to this week. They'll have games on Wednesday and Thursday against Illinois and UIC, and those games are at 10 a.m. So you're going to want to grab your coffee if you're tuning into those. That's really early for a game. But Samara Spencer, it's kind of cool for her. It's like I said, they're playing in West Palm Beach. I think some games are in Fort Lauderdale, actually, which is like where she's from. So going to have, I'm sure, a lot of family and loved ones and friends there. Should be cool for her. Well, we talked about her at the top of the podcast about Jill Gillen, how she's going to be a guest on the show. Well, here on the other side of this break, I'm going to play you that conversation that we had with the All-American Jill Gillen of the Arkansas volleyball team. You're listening to the Game Changers podcast.
Stay on top of all Arkansas Razorback sports with a Digital Plus subscription on the Hogs Illustrated app. Get complete Razorbacks coverage in one location. Your subscription gives you 20-plus issues of Hogs Illustrated magazine, the most unique and compelling coverage anywhere in the state, plus total access to all the content on WholeHogSports.com, including breaking news, commentaries, analysis, features, recruiting, award-winning photos, and premium message boards. Subscriptions start at just $17 per month. Join the Hog Sports Network team at subscribe.waco.com. That's subscribe.wehco.com. Or call 479-684-5509 to get your front row seat to Arkansas Razorback sports. Go Hogs!
So I have Jill Gillen with me today on the show, fresh off of the most exciting postseason in Arkansas volleyball history because they made it to the regional finals against Nebraska. And first off, Jill, just does it kind of feel real that this past season just happened? Like what all y'all accomplished, and now that you probably have a little bit of time to look back a little.
Um, yeah, I mean, Coach and I were joking, it's like a Disney movie, like, when's the ball gonna drop? But, I think the most emotion I'm feeling is that, it's bittersweet because I'm done. I tried to leave it better than I found it, and, I'm just really, really proud of what we've done this year and done in the face of adversity and doubters, and that's kind of our mantra at Arkansas volleyball. So I'm happy to represent that.
Yeah. So focusing in real quick just on this last little episode of the season with the NCAA tournament, it was your first one, right? Because you missed last year the tournament with an injury. Am I correct?
I did not miss last year's, but I was injured and was definitely hindering my playing. So I was pretty nervous going into this one just because I haven't had an NCAA tournament where I felt completely healthy. I mean, the goal last year was to make it, and we made it, and that was the entire team goal. Um, so, I mean, we achieved that, but I personally was bummed with my performance because I just couldn't move the way that I normally do.
So this was your first tournament that you just went into it like I'm ready to go. I'm at my full health. What was that, I guess, because thinking about it, you were a graduate student, so you didn't even have to come back in the first place, right? How did it feel to, I guess, decide, hey, I want to come back, and then get to experience a postseason like this one, where you were, just at like your career height?
Yeah. Well, first, I always knew I was going to come back once the COVID year was a thing. We figured that out my sophomore year, and from then I knew. But it was just like, oh, if the coach wants you back, this, that, whatever. Jason communicated that to me, obviously, and I applied to the MBA program at Arkansas, got in, started that early, so I could have it set up to basically just be my last year of school, which ended up working out really, really well. It was a no-brainer for me. Obviously, we were just getting better and better every year I've been on the team, so it was like, yeah, we made the tournament, but what else can we do kind of thing. It's just, we're never satisfied. It's just, yes, we achieved this, but let's keep going. We're building and building and building and building. So that, again, really no brainer. But as far as going into it as a grad, I mean, it was just kind of like, yeah, I'm at my full health, but this is also my last shot and I was fighting for what could be my last game every single game, and I didn't want it to end. So that's where that sense of urgency came in. I was trying to procrastinate school and finals and facing the reality of my career at Arkansas coming to an end. And the best way I could do that was just to keep playing volleyball with them.
And talking about, that sense of urgency of like, it's my last go around, I'm fighting for my career to not end. Your last game in Barnhill, I mean, you'll forever say your last game punched a ticket to the Sweet 16. You had a lot of memories in that arena this year, though. I guess, what are some of your favorites that come to mind from just this past season of things that y'all did in your home building?
Yeah, definitely two that come to mind immediately is Wisconsin, just getting everyone out there. That was amazing. We had a great student section. We don't always have a great student section. We want one. But they were fabulous. And then definitely senior night was one. Not that we knew what we were getting into. I mean, Florida's a freaking awesome team, right? And it's always going to be a battle with them. And it was a 5-setter, and that one just kind of became a dogfight. It was like, this is our home, you know. I think that subconsciously like slipped into our minds a little bit there towards the end of the game. Like, you're not going to take this night away from us, because yeah, it's still senior night, but oh my gosh, if you lose on senior night, I mean, you got to go out and celebrate and act like you're having a good time, but you're just like thinking about that loss. So I just remember after that game just being so emotionally and physically drained. And yeah, that's just one of my favorites. So,
So,
and the crowd, sorry, got to
oh,
give them props. That was another reason, because I think it was fall break or the end of Thanksgiving break. And so we didn't have a student section, but we had all these people from all over Arkansas come to the game and get like 3,800 people there on a random Sunday at 3 p.m. So that's also why that one was really cool.
it
Sorry.
was a whiteout, right?
Yes.
So, awesome senior match. I mean, I remember seeing the video afterward of you jumping into. I mean, you were just overjoyed, like I guess with just the emotions going through you. You jumped into Jason's arms. You were so excited. I guess for all of you who stuck around with him and fought for him throughout your career, what was that like? I guess just kind of this year, y'all really brought so much excitement to the program and like set him up for, like, I know there were people telling me like throughout y'all's tournament matches, like, I can't believe I haven't watched this program before. I'm totally tuning in next year. What does it mean to you, just with Jason, kind of how y'all left the program behind for him?
Um, I mean, this is what he pitched to us. This is not an overnight success story. This is years and years. Like I said, we've been getting better every year. And I remember when I committed, his pitch was like, let's build this program. And the same thing with Maggie and the same thing with Taylor. So, I mean, this was always the goal, to get it here. Now we're kind of leaving it in the hands of others, which is a little bit nerve-wracking, just because now that you're good, you don't want to get complacent, right? And I can't control that anymore because I'm gone. But you're just leaving it in the hands of the others, and trusting the people that he's brought in to uphold that standard for us.
So, talking a little bit about just the memorable run again in the tournament, Kentucky match. Y'all get to that, and you've been had been beaten twice by him in the season. I know the one at Kentucky had a lot go on in that one, but like really recently, I mean, it was a sweep that y'all lost them. But then, on the biggest stage, whenever it mattered the most, y'all somehow found a way to beat them. I guess, how did the team put those other two matches earlier in the year just kind of out of your mind and do that?
I mean, you just got to compartmentalize a lot of what was happening. There's a lot of external factors other than, oh, well, they swept us. Well, why did they sweep us, right? Like, you have to look at those factors. Not only in their game plan, but how are we feeling that week? Like, we just came off a tough week of volleyball. When we played them in October, we had just played one of the hardest teams in the conference and expected a day and a half later to go play Kentucky at our full potential. And we played great. We just came up short in 5. And then when we played them again in Barnhill, right, it's, again, Thanksgiving break. We had a lot of people come out, but you don't have that full advantage, right? And I mean, they were on fire. They were one of the hottest teams in the country. They were playing really, really well. They absolutely executed their game plan. And so they were just on us, and we were tired. We were tired from our week prior. And so we get into it again. Like, obviously, we know we play this team going on 3 times. We know what they do, right? You know the film. You know their tendencies. So all we had to do was just go make sure that we execute this time and not the other way around. And we did that, and we won. And so we can talk about it. Like, we say we can talk about it in film all we want, but at the end of the day, we have to just go out and do our job. And we did it.
And I thought it was just so fitting, that like the way that that match in the NCAA tournament ended was just you got a kill on like the final point was a kill for you. Whenever you saw the ball hit the ground and you realized like, wow, like we just made history. I guess what was the first thoughts like that were going through your head?
Um, well, I think that whole night, of course we go into fifth set again, right? Like this is poetic. This has been our whole career. We've never beaten Kentucky. We get set up with Kentucky. We go to 5, like we always do with Kentucky. And yeah, I just remember saying the whole night, like, we are not going home tonight. We are not going home tonight. Every single point is mattering. We're not going home tonight. I did not, I mean, nobody does, but we didn't go into that game expecting to lose. We fully intended to win. And I don't know what Kentucky's mindset was. If they thought, well, we've beaten them twice, yeah, we know what they do. We don't have to, study as hard film wise or whatever. I don't know what their plan was, but I mean, as soon as that ball hit the ground, I was just like, yes. It was just, we knew it would make history, but I don't think until like that happened that fully clicked. And also just for each of us to be in that moment after years of building and building and building was just so rewarding. Like, yeah, we talk about the good stuff all day, but nobody knows how dark those times were when we were 5-13 in the SEC because it was hard. It was really hard. And I'm sure people probably didn't even say anything because they didn't even know about the volleyball team, right? So I don't know. I just remember that ball hitting the ground and I was just so happy. So happy. So
So, the next match, I mean, it's not like y'all had a lot of time to celebrate because it's like, hey, you're in Lincoln, Nebraska, and time to go take on Nebraska. And y'all are the only team who's still taken a set over them, even in this tournament. And y'all had them on the ropes in a couple other sets too. Like y'all definitely proved in that match, like, hey, we are a championship contender, and we have been. I guess what was that experience like playing there? And then really, y'all left it all out on the court against the team that's now, awaiting a championship match.
mhm. Yeah, it was a great environment. I don't think any of us have been in that environment, whether to play and or to attend one of their games when we were a kid or something. So that was really neat. That was really cool. Just to see all the support that they have. Obviously, they have a ton of support because they fit 92,000 in a football stadium for them. But that was a really cool environment. We had a plan against them. We were executing. Unfortunately, we just couldn't finish that day. But yeah, I think we played them as hard as we could, and again, just fell up a little short. But I mean, we definitely left it all out there for sure.
And then, in the days since, you've been named an All American, which I mean, I don't know if that's set in for you yet. That because some people said that you could never make it as a college volleyball player, and now you will forever be able to say you were an All American. What does that honor mean to you?
Oh, a lot. This has been one of my goals for a long time. And one I try not to talk about very often because I don't really like talking about it. Because I was always like, I can't, there's nothing you can do. You're just awaiting somebody else's vote. And then you got to be good. Your team has to be good. And, when you really start to put all that aside, that's when greatness comes out though, like when you're just fighting for the end of your career, that's where greatness is coming out, and that's where people can see, okay, this person can really do it because of how much they care. So yeah, it hasn't really set in. We had the banquet today. Taylor was there, Jason was there. And yeah, it's a goal I've been shooting for a long time, and I'm so happy Jason was there today. That was pretty sweet.
Real quick, I gotta ask. I think during the Nebraska match, they panned on the TV to your parents that were there, and they talked about your dad's job and how. Can you just talk about, I guess, their support and like they said that he had just completed like a surgery on somebody like the day before coming or something.
Oh yeah, they had to go home Thursday night because my dad had surgeries on Friday. You can't just reschedule surgeries. It's a really long process to even get your surgery scheduled. And they've really worked their butt off this season to take that time off to come and see me. My mom made it to every single game. She's an anesthesiologist. Another not easy job. I think people probably just I had teammates be the younger ones be like, "Is your mom retired?" Because she's come to every single game. Well, my mom actually has a really difficult job. She's just found a way to make it work for me, and I'm so grateful for that. They've supported me so much, and yeah. So luckily, Lincoln is not too far from Kansas City, so it was a 3 hour drive, and they make that sort of drive all the time down to Arkansas. And so for my dad, it was nothing. Do surgeries and come back up Saturday.
And what type of surgeon is he again?
He's an orthopedic surgeon.
Okay, cool. I just remember whenever they panned that, I was like, this is just an unbelievable story. Like you said, like it was like everything about y'all's run. It just felt like a Hallmark movie or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Last question I got for you, Jill. Just whenever you look back on your Arkansas career, I mean, I don't know how many, throw a number out 20 years down the road. What are some of the things that you hope that you most vividly remember about your Arkansas career?
Um, I think what I'm gonna remember most is this year. Um, a lot of my favorite memories have come from this year. Um, it's also because we were good and, freshman year we weren't, but I've learned so much from that feeling of defeat and wanting more and having to become really resilient. And those are the biggest lessons I've learned from being on this team. Um, and no matter how many times you fail, you can't quit. You just can't. I think a lot of times, especially today, people want to take the easy way out and quit and transfer and, do all those things and obviously do what's best for you. But remember the people who took a chance on you and trust them. I've always trusted Jason, and now our relationship will last, hopefully for forever. So yeah, all the life lessons and definitely all the memories from this year. I've saved a lot of things, especially starting this year, that I hadn't thought about before, just to remember all these kind of moments.
Well, each week on the Game Changers podcast, we name a Game Changer of the Week. It's just to highlight somebody who's doing something that's making a difference. Could be something that they're doing that's really good in their sport, in the classroom, community, just whatever kind of makes you a game changer. And mentioned her, at the beginning, but Britton Wilson, the third Razorback female athlete to ever be named a finalist for the Bowerman. Just a tremendous honor for her. She had bad luck at NCAA outdoors. She had dealt with some shin injuries that kind of prevented her from performing how she normally can. I mean, it really set her back at the NCAA outdoors, but that made her worried that she wouldn't be a finalist for the Bowerman because she thought she might have blown it with what happened at outdoors. But hey, that people saw what she was capable of doing. They understood that she was dealing with injuries during the outdoors, And that's just a huge accomplishment to be named a finalist for that award. I know at Arkansas, it's kind of like you take it for granted a lot of times with the men's and women's track teams, just like how good they are. But I mean, there are so many great athletes in track and field across the country. And for Britain to be named one of the top three females in track and field is just an unbelievable honor. So, Britton Wilson of track and field, she is our game changer of the week. Well, folks, this has been another edition of the Game Changers podcast. I'm your host, Ethan Westerman. I appreciate you listening in, and I hope you have a good week ahead.